Hi everybody! Happy Black Cat Day! We are live for the Black Cat Archetype Training. So excited for this. Give me 1 second to get this little system going. Okay, so if you are on with me, say hi. I think we should be good with comments today. We should be good with all of the tech things. Sometimes Facebook can be very weird, but it looks like it's in our favor. So if you're here, say hi, just so we can test it and see if the comments are working. Lorene, hello. Lanice, hi. Hey, everyone. Let's see. I always am super curious how people are able to tag everyone. Oh, I did it. It's working. Let's see if this will work. Okay. If you're here, say hi. I see some eyeballs. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Amise. Yay! Cool. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super curious to see how this time for the training goes. Is this a good time for y'all? Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Kate. Hi, Wendy. If anyone has preferences on what time of the day they like to join live trainings, let me know because I'm super curious. Hi, John Lynn. Hi, Amy. Cool. Okay, so it looks like it is doing the thing where I can only see 4 comments at a time. So I normally don't look directly at my screen when I'm doing the live. I like to pop into the comments and check them. So if you ask me any questions or you say something and I don't acknowledge it, it just means I just didn't see the comment. So feel free to pop it in again so I can see it. And I will go back through them later, probably Friday, and see if there's any questions I missed, but full permission to paste the same question like 3 times in there. Okay, so let's dive in. Welcome. Hi, everybody. So today we're going to dive into the Black Cat archetype. I am so excited for this training. I am so excited. I haven't been this excited for a training in a very, very long time, but like my normal level of excitement for these live trainings is 100%. So now I'm at like 1,000% of excitement right now. So if you're just joining, say hi. I always love to see who's on. I see some eyeballs. Amazing, amazing. But say hi. I love the lives because that is one of my favorite ways to teach is to go through an outline that I've written beforehand, prepared beforehand, but also to feel into where you're feeling like you need more explanation or examples and stuff like that. So I also love to hear if this stuff resonates with you and if it feels like you're being recognized and you're being seen for what you're experiencing and what you're going through in your business and just life in general. So the more comments you can give me, the more feedback, the more just interactions with the lives, the better. I love it. It thrills me. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Marie. Okay, so again, full permission to completely spam the comment section. All right, so I will do my very best to keep this training within an hour, and the replay will be available in the group forever. If you're catching the replay, leave me a hashtag replay so I can see that you were here. But consider the Black Cat conversation that we're going to have today the official kickoff to Magical Girl Summer. So you may have heard me say this term a couple times. I had a hit of inspiration a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? Magical Girl Summer is totally the vibe. That is what we are going to do this summer. It is hot here. I love the summertime, but I do think that sometimes with the heat and with the slowness and with all of that, like we have to work a little bit to bring magic into this season. And so that's what Magical Girl Summer is all about. So I'm going to be bringing you brand new human design reports every single week in the group, reports that we're just creating that haven't been shared before. And we're also going to do juicy, juicy live trainings every week that dive into the most magical archetypes needed to become the highest expression online spiritual entrepreneur that you could possibly be. So that is the mission of Magical Girl Summer. We're going to go through August and just talk about all of these different archetypes, all of these different identities that you have within you and that I think are really powerful for really stepping into the identity and the role of an entrepreneur. So you might want to grab your Black Cat report for this training if you don't have it already. I'm going to put that into the comments right here. This is looking at your Black Moon Lilith gates, and we'll talk about that further into this. But hi, Jamie. Oh my gosh, so good to see you. Hi, Autumn. Hi, Stephanie. Just a little note, the Black Moon Lilith placements are secondary placements. What that means is they're not calculated when your body graph is being defined. So if you look at, let's say your your Black Moon Lilith is in gate 51, but that gate is not highlighted on your body graph, that's normal. There's a couple different aspects that do that, like Chiron is one, Black Moon Lilith. So we'll talk about that more. But just know if you got gates that aren't in your body graph, that's totally normal. Both of mine aren't, but it's still good insight into those placements for you. So if that created any confusion, just know, totally normal. But so this summer, during Magical Girl Summer, in the middle of it all, we are going to have a big summer party called Magic Fest. It is magic, it is vibes, it is the place to be this summer. So this is going to be a free 4-day masterclass where I'll be teaching you about the most important of the important magical archetypes. So we're going to be covering the Enchantress, the Mermaid, the Queen, and the Goddess during the Magic Fest training sessions. It's going to be on Zoom, so it's going to be a little bit more official than the Facebook Live container here. And I do have some very, very special human design reports for everyone who watches the trainings, whether you come live or you watch the replays. So make sure to put those dates on your calendar, carve out time. Each one will probably be about an hour or hour and a half. But we've never put on anything quite like Magic Fest before. So this is going to be brand new content presented in a brand new way. And it's going to be really, really fun. So you don't want to miss it. It's free, but we do need you to register so that you can get the Zoom links and all the details and all of that good stuff. So here's the link to just save your seat for Magic Fest and make sure that you get updated with the Zoom links and with the report instructions and all of that good stuff. Okay, let's dive in. If anyone has any questions about the process or anything like that, feel free to ask. But without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so the first thing that I want to cover is what the heck is an archetype, right? What is that? And should you even care? Or is this just another jargony thing? The answer to that is yes, you absolutely should care, because archetypes are your magic ticket to a brand and a business and a life that is more successful than you can even imagine. And that is not hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating on this. I mean this sincerely and entirely. I also mean this in a way where your successful brand is going to be whatever success means to you. So it could mean fame and fortune, or it could be a business that gives you the time freedom so that you can create a homestead with all these chickens, right? Or it could be a business where you create generational wealth and you offer your services and your gift to the world. So that's the really cool thing about archetypes, is that we can work with them to become just bigger, more authentic, more highly expressed versions of ourself, because the archetypes are like our unique coding as a human. So as we learn more about the archetypes and learn what archetypes really, really exist primarily inside of us, and also which archetypes are dormant inside of us, also which archetypes are repressed inside of us because of conditioning, all of that, it just leads to so much clarity around who we are, what we want from life, and what we want from our business. So simply put, archetypes are human programming. We as humans are all born with the archetypes pre-programmed into our psyches. So it doesn't matter who we are, where we were born, when we were born, what type of situation we were born into. Archetypes don't, like the actual programming of the archetypes in our psyche, it has nothing to do with external factors. Like we come into the world with this already in our brains. So systems like astrology and human design really help us to understand what our personal main archetypes are, and basically how we're designed to operate in specific areas of life, like business, family, right, relationships, self-actualization, you name it. The archetypes can really give us a picture and a model of what we are aiming for. That's why I'm obsessed with human design and astrology, because they're archetype systems. So when I look at a human design chart, I see archetypes, I see programming, I see programmed traits and all of that stuff. But I can also see where archetypes might be suppressed and where there might be conditioning, which is so powerful and so helpful. But the cool thing too about archetypes is they're not just a spiritual thing. Archetypes are very widely accepted and acknowledged in mainstream schools of thought, like clinical psychology, right? So that's how you know that they're legit, is when all schools of thought, all different types of people with all different belief systems and opinions and all of that, like all study it and agree on it and practice it. Archetypes are a thing. They're very real and they're very powerful. So I do have one important caveat for you for this. The work that we're doing over or during rather Magical Girl Summer, so until the end of August, what we are focusing on during with all of this archetype work is identity work for us personally as humans. So the goal of Magical Girl Summer and sharing all of these different archetypes. So we're going to cover archetypes like the black cat today, the fairy, the mermaid, the enchantress, the crazy ex-girlfriend, the Barbie, the star girl. So our goal with all of this and studying these archetypes is for you to be able to recognize all of these archetypes within yourself. So I also work with archetypes through the spiritual brand archetype system. So if you've seen me share anything about that method before, that one is very like, which archetype are you? Which one of the 12 are you? This is different. This is a whole different conversation and a whole different topic. So I'm not going to give you anything like, are you the black cat or are you the star girl? It is, how can we activate your black cat? Like, who is the black cat? What coding has she given you? And how can we strengthen this part of you? So as we go through this, all of the material will be relevant for everyone. I will be using your charts to bring you more personalized guidance, as you saw with like the Black Moon Lilith gates. We're going to look at Jupiter gates, Neptune gates, Scorpio, all of them. All of the signs, all of the planets, like lots of different ways, the centers, all of that stuff. But the intention with what we're doing with this work is for you to work on strengthening all of these archetypes within your psyche and your identity so that you can truly realize your full potential as an entrepreneur. So it's a very, very healthy pursuit to realize, oh, this archetype isn't very like strong in me. Like, she's not very dominant. She's not very practiced, right? Or to be like, oh shoot, like I'm totally showing up in the low expression of the crazy ex-girlfriend. Now I'm going to do some work so I can show up in the high expression. And that's a story for another time, but that will be a fun one. But basically, it's just really about self-awareness and realizing where you have room for growth, right? So where current weaknesses are and you can elevate into a stronger version, and where you are naturally gifted and already naturally strong with certain archetypes so that you can leverage that. Use that as a tool in your life and as your brand. So just for extra clarity, what we're doing from now until the end of August, it's not about your brand. It's not about your brand strategy. It's not about your marketing strategy. It's about you as a human and more specifically as a business owner. So let me check the chat really quick and see if y'all have any questions about that. But let me know if that's confusing at all. Laureen, thank you so much. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Davina. So anyone that's just joining, please know I can only see 4 comments at a time. So if you said hi to me and I didn't see your name, I will go back later and look at the comments and say hi. But thank you all for all of you who are here right now. And then if you have a question for me and you posted it and I didn't say anything, it's because I didn't see it. So feel free to post it again. Okay. Yay. Okay, so the black cat. So the black cat, I very intentionally chose her to be the first archetype that we dive into for Magical Girl Summer. So simply put, the black cat is our rite of passage. She is the bridge from the good girl, people pleaser to the version of you who trusts herself fully. She trusts her intuition, she trusts her decisions, and she trusts her desires more than anything else or more than anybody else, right? So she trusts herself and what she feels inside and knows inside. She trusts that more than any external force. So what I mean by that is the opinions of people in her life, any coaches or teachers, right? Any just way that they say you need to do something, right? Any way that she was trained in school. She trusts her own inner knowing more than anything. It doesn't mean that she doesn't study or take in outside influence, but she always runs it through her own intuition and her own knowing first. So the black cat, she is her own leader, and she protects that ability to lead herself and that ability to be basically self-sufficient. She protects it fiercely. So there's a really big fierceness to this archetype. The black cat, this is the part of us, it is here to initiate us into this world of entrepreneurship. So tell me in the comments, I'm so curious, how does that title feel to you in your body? Entrepreneur. Tell me, I would love to know. So, most of you are probably, we'll talk about this in more detail in just a second, but Autumn said, so without sounding presumptuous, how do we figure out what archetype we are out of the ones you listed? So again, all of them. We have all of these archetypes within us. This isn't a system where it's like you are the crazy ex-girlfriend and you're the Barbie. We have all of these in us, and they're like different tools that we can use to accomplish different things in our business, and they all work together holistically. So we're going to talk about each one every single week. To really see where we could strengthen ourselves in certain areas of being an entrepreneur, or where we're already shining and where there's room to really leverage that quality. Kelly said that resonates with me deeply, definitely. Been an entrepreneur for decades. I am. Awesome. So does that make sense about this group of archetypes that we're working with? This is for our identity, and we are going to, the goal for every single one of us is to activate our black cat, right? The goal for every single one of us next week is to really activate the lucky girl. Yeah, okay, perfect. Kate said, thrilling and scary entrepreneur. Lorraine said, I'm totally an entrepreneur. I've always felt fondly toward that word. Powerful, autonomous sovereignty. Love it. Good. Cool. Okay, I love to use the word entrepreneur. That is an identity. I have a friendship bracelet that says it. It's an identity that feels very, very special, but it's something that can be really tricky, right? There's something very tricky about what we're all doing here in this online space. And this also applies to anyone that has a brick and mortar shop as well. But for the all intents and purposes of this conversation, I'm going to use the word online entrepreneur. So the thing is, when we have an online business, we are a service provider of some sort, right? So a coach, an energy worker like a Reiki master or a shaman or a human design reader or astrologist or healer or Akashic Records reader or a tarot card reader, right? Or even done for you services like brand design or copywriting or virtual assistant, right? The list goes on and on and on about the actual thing that you're selling, the actual offer that you have, the actual service that you're providing somebody. So, in order to have a business, you have to have some kind of valuable service or valuable product. Like you don't have a business without it, right? No one just wants to give you money just because they want to give you money. So that's a whole identity in itself, is being that service provider. So being that energy healer, being that tarot reader, right? Being that human design reader, being that brand designer. That's a whole identity in itself. Something that we are unlikely to do just on our own is to step into that role of entrepreneur as well. So this is the part of us that needs to actually run the business, right? So come up with the ideas for new offers or for marketing campaigns or for ad campaigns or for masterclass ideas, right? Or for content ideas, things like that. It's the part of us that is here and needs to make decisions for the brand and for the business. It is the part of us that needs to be the CEO, making all of the boss moves, right? And also the visionary. So the part of us that really can project this idea, project this vision of what we want our brand to be, and then figure out how to move towards that vision and align to it daily. So it's a lot. It's a lot to hold all of these different identities within ourselves so that we can show up fully and create a successful business. And if we never really initiate ourselves into the entrepreneur identity, we're going to likely struggle with the business portion of our online business. So the black cat is really calling you to step into the identity of a successful entrepreneur, of a successful business owner, right? Of a visionary entrepreneur, of a successful entrepreneur, of a capable entrepreneur. So you are an entrepreneur. Claim it. So now, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, what we are doing is a freaking challenging journey, right? Everybody wants this. Everybody wants their own business. Everybody wants to be able to be their own boss. Everybody wants to be able to do the work that they actually want to do in the place that they want to do it during the time that they want to do it, right? And rightfully so. It's a really, really incredible endeavor, and it's exhilarating. Entrepreneurship has been the most expansive, most rewarding, most challenging journey that I have ever personally been on. And I will absolutely choose it over and over and over and over and over in every single lifetime to come. So, for this conversation, I want you to set aside your service provider hat and let's just look through the lens of your entrepreneur glasses as we continue forward. So chances are, just because you're human, there is some portion of your business that you are struggling with. So if you are comfortable, I would love for you to tell me in the comments what that might be. Courtney said, I feel like I'm a solopreneur. I love that. Samantha said, scary. Autumn said, entrepreneur, authentic. Elissa, at my son's soccer game, but can't wait to watch the replay. Sending him such good vibes so he wins. Go sports. Okay, so if you're experiencing any kind of issue in your business and you feel comfortable sharing, I would love to know. But I'm just going to give you some ideas. So, feeling overworked, feeling unhappy with the work that you're currently doing, feeling burnt out, or even really scared of burnout, right? Really fearful of burnout, even though you're not experiencing it yet. Or maybe you feel chained to your inbox or to your phone or to your computer, right? Like you're not able to actually have the time freedom that you want. Or maybe you're suffering from imposter syndrome, or maybe you feel really isolated in this entrepreneurial journey. Or maybe you are really struggling with balancing multiple roles, right? Being the service provider and the entrepreneur, and then all the other roles you have in your life on top of all of that. Maybe you're struggling with societal expectations, right? Like you've been in business for 3 years now, you should have hit this milestone and accomplished this and this and this and this, right? Or it's like, well, you work from home, why isn't all the laundry done? You work from home, why isn't dinner ready, right? Anything like that. Or maybe you're struggling with financial instability. You're not making the money that you want, it's not coming in. Or maybe you are making the money that you want, but you still feel stressed about money. You didn't realize that business was so expensive when you have to start investing in bookkeepers and attorneys and ad fees and all of this stuff. Or maybe you're struggling with criticism from other people. So that could be trolls on the internet, right? Maybe clients that you've worked with, maybe people in your audience, or even people in your personal life. Maybe your partner is saying that he feels that you are disconnected lately and you're always thinking about your business. Maybe you're struggling with self-sabotage, right? You're like, okay, I want to do this. I want to put out this masterclass, but then you never send the email. Then you never schedule it. You never tell the world about it. Or maybe you have a new offer and you make one post about it and no one responds, and so you never share about it again. Or maybe you're struggling with perfectionism. You have to have this email exactly perfect before you send it out, or you're not sending it at all. And then before you know it, you've spent 5 hours editing a 2-paragraph email. Or maybe you're hiding, right? You are just scared of being visible, so you don't show up at all. Or maybe you're underpricing your services. Maybe you're under-delivering your services, right? Maybe you're lashing out, or you have a short fuse, right? Someone sends you an email because you have a typo on your website and you lash out at them immediately and look back in hindsight and realize, oh, a simple thank you would have sufficed for that, right? Or maybe you're just feeling resentful of all of it. So let me check the comments and see what y'all are saying. Danelle said all of the above, balancing all of the roles. And that's coming from a Manny Jen, right? That is so hard. Julia Anna said, not decided what to create or what way to meet new people. Autumn said, I struggle with public speaking, being seen. I can write extremely well, but when it comes to articulating through speaking, I'm not as fluent when I write. Sam said, showing up authentically and conversions. Crystal said, I feel called out, Kelsey. Trust me, all of this came from like, what am I struggling with right now? So all of these are me calling myself out. So if you feel recognized, we are in the same boat. Courtney said, Kelsey has a great niche report. I was in the same rep, but the report was so detailed with what aligns with my human design that I connect to my niche immediately. Courtney, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Stephanie said, Manny Jen also struggling with doing everything. Yeah, right? So all of that stuff, like, it's part of it. But, problems are forever, of course. Like, the crazy ex-girlfriend is the part of us that thinks that we'll get to a point where there's no problems, but that's a conversation for another day. But if you're struggling with any of that stuff, I can tell you where it's coming from. And it can be traced back to your heart center in your human design chart. So I want to show you what the heart center looks like on your chart. So the heart center, let me get my view. There we go. So the heart center is this little tiny triangle right here. So look on your chart if you want. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to look at it right now if it's going to take you out of it, but that's what we're going to talk about for this next little portion is the heart center. So the heart center is such an enigma to me. because I have found through my own human design experiment, all of my human design studies, and working hands-on with clients, a lot of clients, seeing so many charts, right? And talking to so many people, that it feels like regardless if the heart center is defined or undefined for someone, and what I mean by that is on the chart, if it's a white shape or if it's a colored in shape. If it's colored in, it's defined for you. If it's white, it means it's undefined for you. Usually with the centers in the human design chart, they operate a little bit differently depending on if they're white or if they're colored in. The heart center, it doesn't really discriminate. It causes problems regardless. So I have found that whether it's defined or undefined, there's always going to be so many issues that stem from heart center conditioning. So just a little bit of extra context for anyone that is new to this human design stuff. Conditioning is basically these ideas and these limiting beliefs and these expectations and basically just junk that we pick up from other people. So no one's doing it intentionally, right? Conditioning is just part of it, but just by living and being human, you are conditioned in some way. So conditioning happens from our childhood homes, right? What did our parents teach us? What did our siblings teach us? What did our neighbors teach us? Comes from school, right? What did our classmates teach us? What did our teachers teach us? Comes from any kind of religious organization. What did our church teach us? What did we learn by not going to church? Like all of this stuff. And it's not necessarily people blatantly teaching you things like, here's our lesson today on this. It is through their actions and watching people, right? Through your role models growing up, your parents, that kind of thing. So conditioning is basically just holding on to other people's gunk and then creating your life from that. So human design, the biggest value that it brings to us, which it brings so much value, but the biggest value and benefit that it brings to people who start to learn human design is it helps us to decondition. What that means is just to simply see like, wait, I've been believing this. I've been creating my life from this belief. I don't agree with that at all. I don't want to believe that. I'm going to let go of that and start living my life from my true authentic belief system. So let me know if anybody has any questions about that. With conditioning and deconditioning, but it's basically human design allows us to let go of the crap that's not ours so we can step into what we actually believe. And a lot of times human design challenges us to be like, what do I actually believe? So it's a whole thing, but the archetypes also really help with that. Okay, so the heart center is 1000% the most conditioned center out of all 9 of them, especially for us as women and especially for us as entrepreneurs. So I don't think there are any men on this call. If there is, just ignore my wording with women, but I will be presenting this training mainly to women right now, or actually straight to women right now. So if you're a man, just ignore that part. You can still pick up on the rest of it. But the reason why is because the heart center is in charge of our perception of our self-worth. Not our self-worth, like not our actual worth, but our perception of it. So our view if we're worthy or not, or how worthy we are, right? So here's the truth. Here is the truth, like written in stone, non-negotiable, non-debatable. Like this, you cannot prove me otherwise on this. As a human with a soul, you are worthy. Period. You were born worthy and you will die just as worthy. But the actual truth is very, very few people actually truly know that in their body, right? Like their belief system is not aligned with the fact and the truth and the unshakable reality that they are a worthy person, regardless of anything. Most of us are going through life with a subjective worth, meaning we're taught things like, oh, that person has more money, they're more worthy than me. Or we're taught things like, oh, that person's single, but that person has a boyfriend, that person's automatically more worthy. Or I'm from Dallas and I was taught this, like not blatantly, but just societally. I was taught that girls with blonde hair are more worthy than girls with brown hair, right? And it's crazy shit when we look at it like that. But that is unfortunately this rampant conditioning that exists in our society. So the examples I gave you were pretty superficial, right? It goes so much deeper. It gets so much bigger, but I'm sure there's so many different experiences that you could pinpoint for yourself on where you were conditioned to believe that certain things, certain accomplishments, certain physical traits, certain whatever made someone more worthy than another person, right? Or shifted your worthiness as a human. So the same exact conditioning shows up for us in our business. It might not be the blonde hair versus brown hair thing, but 1000% the same patterns and the same story and the same conditioning is showing up for us in some way. Some examples are, I won't be worthy in my business until I have 10,000 followers on Instagram. Or I won't be worthy until I get to $10,000 months. Or I'm not good enough, let me give a discount for absolutely no reason at all other than these people won't buy it if I don't. Or I'm not good enough. So let me overgive to this client so that I can prove to her that I am good enough. Or I'm not good enough. So let me post every single day on Facebook without a break, even when I'm uninspired, because if I keep up, I will prove that I'm good enough, right? Or this is one that's pretty tricky. I'm not good enough, so what's the point, right? And you don't even post at all. You don't even show up at all. You don't even create anything at all because you're already not good enough, so what's the freaking point, right? Or I'm not going to take any action. I'm not going to be seen in any way. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I will never prove myself to be good enough. I will never become good enough. So I'm not going to do anything. All of those kind of reasonings, beliefs, even if so, whether they're like really obvious in your mind or if they're more of like, oh wow, like I didn't realize that that's why I was doing this thing. All of that stuff about being good enough, having to prove yourself, being valuable enough, being worthy enough comes from the heart center. Autumn said, wow, these examples are hitting home. Good. Hi, Iris. Defined heart, conscious sun, and gate 21. Hi, Susanna. I can't remember if I said hi to you, but hello. So let me know if those are landing for you or if you can think of any others. Again, only if you're comfortable sharing. But Crystal said, wow, I feel like Kelsey has known me my whole life now, all hitting for sure. Yeah. So one thing I used to do really bad, and I have a wide open heart center on my chart. So this has been something that was like a huge, huge, huge part of my story. And human design was really triggering and really eye-opening. And it's something I still absolutely struggle with. But when I first started this business and I came online, I was doing brand and website design, and I used to have consult calls with people, and my rates weren't very much. I thought they were a lot at the time, but now like knowing what other people charge, my rates were not very much at all. But I would have calls with people, and they'd be like, "Well, do you include copywriting services?" Meaning like, do I write everything on the website? And I didn't. I didn't have any experience as a copywriter. I didn't have any desire to be a copywriter, but I'd say things like, "Yes, absolutely. I do all of the copywriting. I will write your entire website." And then later I would be so mad at myself and so burnt out and so resentful and so bitter. But it was because I was trying to prove myself during that consult to be good enough. Thinking if I offer more, if I give more, if I do more, then they'll say yes because I'm not good enough just with my regular offer. So I got to do more. And it was always, always, always putting myself into a trap to where I had so much work and the work I was doing was so under delivering. It wasn't good because it was stuff I didn't know how to do, right? I was over promising, I was under delivering, and it was all because of the heart center junk. Same wide open heart ego, no gates turned on. Yep, that's how mine is too. What I have to say isn't worthy. Popped. Yeah, that's another good one, Danelle. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, like why? Like who cares? No one's listening to me. No one wants to hear what I have to say, right? What I have to say isn't valuable. Like no one cares. This isn't going to help anybody. I've struggled with self-worth all my life. Hi, Latoya. Self-worth is such a big one, and that's what's so important to know about the heart center is it affects our perception of our self-worth, right? Like my self-worth in when I was a teenager and in college, like I thought I was as worthy as a bag of trash. Like literally I did not believe that I was worthy, but I didn't know that. I didn't have words for that, but all of the things I was creating in my life stem from that belief system. Kat said, I've done that so many times as well. It just leads straight to burnout. Yeah, and straight to an unsatisfied client, right? Not meeting deadlines, sending them stuff that's just crappy in general. It's just a bad situation from the start. Wide open heart 2, not one gate colored in. Yeah. So if anyone's curious about that, what we mean by open, if you're looking at your human design chart and any of your centers are white and none of the numbers are colored in, that just means it's completely opened. So it operates in the same way as an undefined center, where you are absorbing and you're amplifying outside energy, but the open centers just tend to feel even bigger and have even more conditioning with them. But there also are sources of, or are places for really great potential wisdom, right? The places where we've struggled the most, the places where we've fallen flat on our face the most and the hardest, and now we've been through it. We've learned the lessons, we've walked through that jungle, and we've come out on the other side, aka we've deconditioned, and we know stuff now. So now we are here to really guide others in that area of life. Just a side note there. Okay, so the black cat. The black cat is the archetype. She is the programming within you. Even if it's not activated, she is the programming that exists within you that innately knows her worth as a soul. Regardless of anything on her resume, regardless of any number that's in her bank account, regardless of anything, she knows her self-worth. So, as a human, certainly, but she also, this is what makes her so spectacular as well, she knows other people's innate worth as well. So she's not ever going to look at two people and say this person is more worthy, because she understands that every single soul is equally worthy, and that is where this archetype starts, and that is where she ends as well. It's a huge, huge, huge cornerstone of this archetype, is that she knows that a human's worth, even any soul's worth, right? Animals as well, but any soul, she understands deeply that there is no wiggle room, no subjectivity about somebody's worth. That's it. Like, end of story, end of the sentence, right? So the other thing about the black cat, or not the other thing, there's lots of things about her, but another thing about the black cat is she understands deeply that there is a radical difference between her soul's worth and her work's value. So remember, we're talking about this through the lens of entrepreneurship. So she's not coming into the online space, the business space, expecting from day one to just get a $10,000 client, right? Like, she understands that she needs to develop her skills, that she needs to develop her knowledge and her capabilities and her skill set, all of that stuff. But she knows that even if she becomes a billionaire entrepreneur, her worth will never change. So she shows up knowing that her as a human is worthy no matter what. No matter if her consult goes sour and the potential client says no, no matter if she posts on Instagram and gets no likes and no comments, no matter if she shows up on a live stream and forgets every single thing she was going to say and she makes a fool of herself, she's very mature in that she understands that it also takes that work and that dedication and a pursuit of excellence to really be able to create value in her business. So, for example, all of that stuff that we talked about, right, where you are struggling with not meeting those financial goals, just for example, the black cat understands that she's not meeting her financial goals, not because she's not worthy or not good enough. It's because that she's not able to produce the quality of service that she wants, so that she can charge the rates that she wants. So it's on her, it's her responsibility to then become an energetic match with her skill set and her knowledge and her capabilities and her experience to be able to charge, right? So it's like she's still struggling with the same things. She still has financial goals she wants to meet. She still struggles with imposter syndrome. She still wants to grow her audience, right? She still gets maybe bummed if she doesn't get as many people enrolled into a launch as she wanted, but none of it is because she tells herself that she's not worthy or not good enough, right? None of it's coming from that proving energy. It's coming from, I am not yet here with my skills and my capabilities. So there's a huge difference, but that is what makes the black cat so powerful in business. And that's why we're starting with her. So the reason that she's so effective at business, right, at expansion, at elevation, at accomplishing her goals, is because that none of it is motivated by this need to prove her worth. That is unshakable in her psyche and her identity. So that is the first part of the black cat identity, is that your worth is unshakable, regardless of anything in your life, regardless of what anyone says, regardless of what any number looks like, anything. So, this is her unshakable belief in her worth as a human, and this allows her to radically trust herself. So, the black cat is the identity that you have available to you, right? It's this archetype, it's this coding that will allow you to break free of any kind of chains that you feel are holding you back from doing what you actually want to do in your business. The black cat really is your path to freedom as an entrepreneur. So, built on an unshakable belief that you are worthy, right? This path of freedom, this freedom that is built on this foundation that you are worthy and that you can trust yourself. Think about that for a second. If you actually showed up in your business, like let's say you were trying to decide if you wanted to um, start an Instagram or start a TikTok. That's a hard decision to make, right? A scary decision to make. But if you show up knowing that you are worthy and that you can trust yourself no matter what, you're going to trust in your decision and be able to go all in. Even if, let's say, you choose Instagram and you're putting up posts and no one's liking it, you're not going to throw it back on yourself and tell yourself that you're unworthy. You're going to go back to the drawing board, see what else you can learn, see what else you can try, right? So, questions, decisions, right? Moves like, you know what, I really don't want to take clients earlier than noon. I like to sleep in, I like to get my coffee, I like to journal, but everyone says I should take clients before noon. Or people are mad at me that my calendar is turned off. Like, I feel like I should open up these early spots for people. But your heart's saying, no, we don't like that. And the black cat's like, perfect, I'm not going to do that. Another example is maybe you don't want to offer one-to-one services anymore, but everyone's telling you you're too early in your business to do that, right? That is the only way to get clients at first, is to offer one-to-one services and to do it for free or to do it cheap, right? But you're like, no, that doesn't feel right to me. The black cat is this identity of yours that can say, it doesn't feel right, so I'm not going to do it. I don't care what other people are saying. I will figure it out. I will figure out another solution. I will figure out another way that feels good to me. Or maybe you don't want to use Instagram because it feels like a rat race. It feels like you are just getting lost in the shuffle. You're creating content, you're spending your energy and your stress on creating stuff that no one's even going to see and you don't care about. The black cat's like, great, I'm not going to show up on Instagram, even though everyone else is saying, you don't have an Instagram? How do you have a business, right? Or maybe you don't want to send out emails because you feel stiff and like it's not for you, right? Like we saw in the comments, maybe you don't want to write your content, but people are like, you have to have an email list, you have to have an email list, you have to have an email list. And you're like, I don't want to write. It doesn't feel like me. The black cat is that ability of yours to say, that doesn't feel like me, and I'm going to choose not to do it. I feel scared because that is the only way, the way people said I had to do it, but I trust myself and I trust myself fiercely, and I'm going to figure out an alternate solution for myself that works and feels amazing. So the black cat is your ability to trust yourself and your decisions completely, regardless of anything else, regardless if 100 people are telling you that you're crazy and you just made the worst decision of your life. As long as it feels aligned for you, that is the black cat that can trust herself and listen only to herself, right? It doesn't mean it's not going to be hard or challenging, or you might have days where you're like, ooh, did I really make the right decision? But being able to take action from that radical trust in yourself is everything when it comes to your business. So let me check the comments really quick. I feel like my Aquarius rising and black cat have a lot in common. Yes, the black cat is totally a form of the rebel, for sure. It is that part of us, because all of us have the rebel in us, right? It's that part of us where it's like, I really feel like I want to rebel against what they're telling me I have to do, but everyone's telling me I have to do it, so I have to do it, right? Remember, the black cat is the bridge between the good girl people pleasing, doing what they say I need to do, and the part of us, the version of us who says, that sounds very silly. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I believe to be right. I don't care who I piss off. I don't care what happens. All I care about is listening to myself, because that is my truth. That is my freedom. Yeah, totally her bestie. Oh, Marie, yay. She said, I love her and needed that. Wait till you guys hear her whole description. She's amazing. Oh my gosh, we are going, it's already 6:45. Okay, I'm going to start talking faster because I want to get through all of this. Okay, so the black cat is, let's talk about basically her characteristics, right? These traits that are available to you with this archetype when she's activated. So the black cat is fierce when she needs to be, right? She will fight for herself. Think about an actual cat. If a cat is cornered, right, being threatened, being attacked, or if you're poking at a cat, or if you're trying to get their belly, they're going to attack you, right? They don't like that. The black cat, she will fight for herself. She will be fierce when she needs to be because she believes in herself and she trusts herself. She's willing to fight for that. The black cat is also very brave and very courageous. So she's that part of you that can fully acknowledge that she is terrified out of her mind, but she really, 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 really wants this. So she is willing to be scared. She is willing to do it shakily, right? She is willing to be bold and to be brave, and she does it scared because she's a badass, like simply put. She's also super magnetic and super alluring. So if you were looking at her through like a different expression of like dating or different scenarios, like she would be very sexy, very sex appeal and that kind of stuff. But for our conversation, this is more about you as an entrepreneur, right? So you are, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when you are in your black cat, you're super magnetic and you're super alluring. And this happens because you love yourself, right? So this is a person that is fully them and has no shame around how awesome they are. It's a person who is unapologetic about who they are, right? Think about someone that is so them and they're just so fun to be around. They're so freeing. They're so them, right? They're so unique. They're awesome energy versus someone that's trying to be this character, right? To be this person that they think someone wants them to be. That always, always, always falls flat, right? It's fake. It's not real. That is not a very good energy to be around. It's not fun. It's not real. So the black cat is fully herself. No hiding, no apologizing, no masks. And that is what creates that alluringness, right? It's very, very alluring. And it creates this vibe that is truly very rare and instantly noticeable, especially in the online space. The black cat is also very capable. So if she doesn't know the answer, she finds it. If she gets stuck, she creates a solution. She troubleshoots, she tests, she problem solves, she gets it done. It doesn't necessarily mean that she does it herself. She might delegate or hire someone, right? But she doesn't use that excuse of, I don't know how. Like, she doesn't allow herself to get stuck. That's just not an option for her. She doesn't quit when something really matters to her. And this is why deconditioning that heart center is so pivotal, because when you get clear on what you actually want, right, what your heart desires, you become unstoppable. You will figure it out, you will get it done. If you're struggling with motivation in your business or inspiration, it's because of heart center conditioning. It's because you're likely trying to build this dream that somebody told you you should build rather than your actual dream. So, just throwing that out there, that might be something to look at. Is this actually what you want, like burning desire for it? Or is it something that you feel like you should want? So the black cat is also graceful. Think about a cat, right? They always land on their feet. So the black cat, she's like this entrepreneurial ninja. She will always land on her feet. She will always be able to course correct. So this is that kind of energy where it's like, how did you do that? Like, people are asking, like, how did you do that? And you're like, I don't know. I really don't. It was magic. Or it's this ability to also alchemize a seemingly bad situation. So think about a cat falling through the air on their back, right? They're going to flip in the air and land on their feet. They alchemized it. It's fine. It looked like the cat was going to fall on its back, but it didn't. It alchemized it. So that's this ability that the black cat brings for you. And the reason why is because she already knows that she's good enough. She already knows that she's worthy, and she fiercely believes that. So she's not wasting energy or mental space trying to figure out how to prove herself or meeting all of these things that she'd overpromised to people, right? Or like trying to be something that she's not. She has freed up so much space in her creativity and in her psyche and in her brain and in her identity that she now has all of this energy available to do the ninja things, right? To course correct midair, to get into places and spaces that a normal person never could. So she's a ninja like, she's very graceful. The black cat, this is a huge, very important part of her. She has very strong boundaries and she lives by them because she is an emotionally intelligent person and can handle any kind of backlash that happens when she follows her boundaries. So people don't talk about this unless I'm just missing these conversations. Maybe they are, but I haven't seen this talked about a lot with boundaries. Boundaries are like a sexy concept at first where it's like boundaries, boundaries, but actually upholding your own boundaries, right? Especially with clients, especially with people that you love and that you want to serve and that you want to help and that are paying you. That is so hard to actually uphold those boundaries and follow through with it, right? Especially when people have a good argument for why you should break them. But when you follow your own boundaries, like, you are automatically, inevitably going to be disappointing someone or upsetting someone, right? Triggering someone. But the black cat, at the end of the day, she is an advocate. And she starts by always advocating for herself, right? She put those boundaries in place for a reason. She put her work hours for a reason, or her Voxer hours for a reason, or her deliverables and her service for a reason. And she upholds that because she loves herself and she trusts herself. So the black cat is very good at following through with her boundaries because she's emotionally intelligent. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And then the other thing about the black cat is she is confrontational when she needs to be. So think about a cat, right? Like I said earlier, like if they're attacked or in a corner or whatever, like they will fight back. So when she needs to be, she can have that tough conversation. She can have that come to Jesus moment with herself. She can have that boundary conversation with her client, right? She can make those hard decisions in her business when her desires are on the line, right? When it's make or break for what she's creating and what she decided for herself. Let me see what y'all are saying. Yes, I had that in a past business. Bigger was not better, even though everyone tells you so. Yes. Wow, love that I have this inherently in me as a black cat. Yes. We'll talk about the Black Moon Lilith in just a second. So we'll probably go over the hour. I'm so sorry, y'all. I always tell myself this isn't going to be long enough, and then it's like 8 hours long. So if you need to pop off, I understand. The replay will be in the group so you can watch it later. Okay. So this is where the Black Moon Lilith placement comes in. So this is what was in that Black Cat report that I shared in the group. I mentioned this at the beginning, but just for clarity for anyone, the Black Moon Lilith placements are secondary placements. So you may have gotten gate. The gates shown might not be defined in your body graph chart, and that's normal. That is totally normal. There's other placements that do that too, like Chiron and stuff. So don't freak out. It's not wrong. It's just they're not defined in your body graph, but they're still your Black Moon gates. Okay, so here's the thing about the black cat that's a little bit mind-blowing when we actually think about it. The black cat archetype, especially in women, has been villainized throughout history. So we can talk about her all that we want and celebrate her all that we want here, right? She's strong, she's independent, she's capable, she trusts herself, she's feisty, right? She's magnetic. But when we see that out in the real world, what happens? Well, she gets pegged as a villain, right? So take Catwoman, for example. She possesses all of those qualities that we just talked about, yet they made her to be a literal villain with really spotty morals. Or Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones. They made her so taboo. They made that character so taboo. If you've ever seen that show or read that book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it here. Or Amy Dunn from Gone Girl, right? So those qualities in her, they're kind of romanticized, right? Like that character was kind of likable, but at the end of the day, like she was the freaking villain of that story. She was the bad guy. That's a great book and movie as well. Highly recommend that you watch that if you haven't seen it. But they make this archetype so unappealing. So it's really important to acknowledge who they is, right? Who are the people that decided to villainize this archetype and villainize these traits? Black Moon Lilith is known as the dark feminine, right? The shadow of the feminine. But who decided that? Who decided that's dark or like strong, independent, capable, problem solver, feisty? Who decided that that was a bad thing? And the answer to this is the patriarchy. So it's always about the patriarchy for sure, but it is central to this topic. So, it's this whole like, well, strong women, we can't have that, right? Let's make her the villain. And if she's the villain, that means we have to kill her. Like, let's just deal with her, get rid of her. She's a problem to us. She's the villain, problem solved, right? So we see this in actual history. Marie Antoinette, the witch trials, right? So as women, especially us women who are here to do big things, have big impact, share our opinions, right? Actually mold the future of the society that we live in, right? Have a huge impact on it. We are coded with these experiences and these fears that have come from this black cat archetype, among some other archetypes too that we'll talk about through Magical Girl Summer. But like I mentioned, Black Moon Lilith is known as the dark feminine. But like, what's actually dark about her? That she's willing to express her feelings? that she's willing to express her anger, right? Or that she's willing to feel confident and safe in being a sexual being. So, the best way that we can really start deconditioning our heart center and all of the patriarchal, I can never say that word, all of the patriarchy, not good enough messages that are coded into it is to work through our Black Moon Lilith placements so that we can really fully step into the expression of the black cat. So, I'm about to give y'all the game plan. Let me check on the chat. Danelle, you're amazing. One of mine was 38. Oh, that's such an interesting placement for Black Moon Lilith. I love that. Okay, so here's the game plan for us to really decondition this heart center. So to let go of all of that crap, and it's not crap because it feels really real, right? It feels really big, and we've created so much of our life from this conditioning. So none of us have done anything wrong. It's just sincerely what we've been taught and what we have been shown to be normal most of the time. And this is why the black cat is so amazing. This is why the rebel archetype is so amazing. It's because these are the people and the visionaries who even stopped to question it in the first place, right? So instead of just going through the motions and being like, yeah, I mean, that's what they say, the rebel, the black cat, they're like, wait, why? Why would I do that? So we really want to decondition all of that not good enough stuff, all of that fear of being visible and being powerful as a woman because something bad might happen. Like, that's real. That is coding within us. But the black cat is here to help, and Black Moon Lilith is here to help. So here's the game plan. Here's some steps that you can take. So I gave you that black cat report that shows your Black Moon Lilith gates. Like I mentioned, those are secondary placements, so they might not show up defined in your body graph. That's totally normal. Still dive into those gates. See if you can notice areas of your business where you are people pleasing and playing the good girl. What I mean by that is, are you doing things that you don't want to do? Like, remove anyone else's opinion. Be very, very, very honest with yourself. Are you doing things in that specific theme that's like that the gate lists? Are you doing things in your business that you don't want to do, but you think you have to so that people will like you, so that people will listen to you, so that people will show up, so that people will give you their time, give you their money, right? Any of that people pleasing. People pleasing is like truly denying yourself of what you want because you think it's going to make somebody else happy. And it's one of the biggest forms of manipulation that's out there. But it's very tricky because it's nice, right? You're making people feel good. But that's not actually you, right? That is a mask. So that's a really good way to dive into that black cat report. Is just like, for example, my unconscious Black Moon Lilith is in gate 40, which is the gate of deliverance. That is about me delivering things in my business to people, which is exactly aligned with that example I gave you with consults where I'm like, yeah, I do that and I do that and I do that. That's all included. I do all of it for this very, very low price, right? That is 1000% me trying to people please and trying to prove that I was worth hiring and all of that stuff. So, is your black cat initiating you to show up strong, to show up unapologetically and boldly in these areas in your business? This is likely going to feel really scary. Remember, the black cat is bold, she is courageous, she is fierce, she is willing to deal with confrontation when necessary. So, the black cat, when you really start to pay attention to her and listen to her, it might feel like a bunch of stuff is being stirred up and your life just got harder. But it's one of those things that gets worse before it gets better. So just know that nothing has gone wrong. You're just now like actually establishing boundaries. You're speaking up for yourself. And a lot of times people don't like that because it means that it shakes up their routine, right? It makes it harder for them, all of that stuff. But you're doing the right thing by listening to yourself and following yourself. So, other ways that you can take this deeper is to look at your Black Moon Lilith in your astrology chart. So, just Google like astrology chart Black Moon Lilith free, and you'll get some links that will show you. So, what you can do then is to look at the zodiac sign that your Black Moon Lilith shows up in. So, that's going to be something like Scorpio, Virgo, Sagittarius, right? And that's going to give you more insight into how your black cat is here to show up. For example, if she is an Aquarius, it's going to be truly like the traditional rebel, which is oxymoron, traditional rebel, but you know what I mean, like textbook rebel, that kind of thing. Also looking at the house that it shows up in your astrology chart. So that's a little bit out of scope for what we're diving into today, but you can Google what it means. You can ask me on other threads and stuff like that, and we can talk about it more. But really, really looking to see what breadcrumbs and what keywords and what insights these details give you on where you're meant to work on transitioning from the good girl people pleaser to the fierce self-led boss in your business. Remember, the whole epiphany of this class is I want you to be able to use that black cat archetype as the bridge, as the rite of passage from good girl, people pleaser into independent, fiercely independent, right? Radically independent version of you who is here to create this mind blowing business and this mind blowing life. Um, so, the other thing, the final thing that I want to offer you here is nervous system flexibility, right? Emotional intelligence. So the black cat has insane emotional intelligence, meaning she knows how to safely process big emotions, really big emotions. So if you notice when we were reading out the traits of the black cat, like I said, like it might feel like a bunch of crap is getting stirred up with her when you start to activate her and start to acknowledge her, but it's because she's really good at handling really big negative emotions. She can do it, right? She's resilient. And it's not because she ignores it. It's not because she has coping mechanisms to like avoid it. It's because she knows how to actually process it in her body. So the thing that really helped me to break free with this, especially with the heart center stuff, especially with other people's opinions, especially around self-worth and self-value and proving myself and all of that, was to imagine my nervous system like a balloon where if something negative happened during my day, especially when it had to do with somebody else. So, for example, if I get an email from someone that is in a not very nice tone and it feels accusatory to me, that doesn't mean it's actually accusatory. It means that I read it as accusatory, right? And I like start to feel all of these big emotions and I'm like mad and I feel not good enough and I feel like I failed and I'm feeling all of these things. I like to catch myself in that and picture like my ribs like expanding like a balloon to hold all of this anger and all of this rage and all of this defeat and all of this embarrassment, all of this shame, right? All of this stuff that comes up. I like to imagine it like expanding in this flexible way like a balloon. And that really helps me to hold those big emotions and to process it, especially when it's directly linked to heart center stuff. So what I tend to make it mean and what we all tend to make it mean is if someone sends you an email because they're angry that they didn't get an email with the link to the whatever, right? We make it seem, oh my gosh, I failed, I messed up, I dropped the ball, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I shouldn't be here, like I failed, all of that. And it happens so fast. It's conditioning. We don't actively notice it, but just imagine like your rib cage expanding like a balloon, and it can really help you to feel those emotions. They're not going to feel good, but it helps you to feel them rather to go into your head about them and make it mean that you're not worthy, to make it mean that you failed because you're not worthy, right? All of that stuff. It also helps us to not lash out in the low expression of the black cat and just attack immediately, which I have also done plenty of times in my business. Someone tries to nicely send me a DM about a typo on my website, and I'm so tired and burnt out that I lash out at them because my brain told me it means I'm not good enough, right? So all of that, the more that we can feel the anger and the shame, the resentment, the injustice, whatever it might be, the more we're stepping into the high expression of the black cat. She feels big emotions, but she is a ninja at the negative emotions, right? At the really hard to feel emotions. And she is that how do I want to say it? I guess tool for creating that space between someone being upset with you about a boundary or whatever, and you not making it mean immediately that you're not worthy. So, a flexible nervous system really means that you feel those feelings of rage, anger, injustice, annoyance fully for however long they need to last, which honestly is probably going to be like 10 minutes when you actually feel them. And then you continue about your day. So, a really good gauge to see if you are in this flexible nervous system kind of vibe or if you're in the low expression and you're not fully stepped into emotional intelligence is to think of like a seemingly insignificant altercation that you might have with someone in your day. So, for example, maybe you went through the Starbucks line and the barista was rude to you. and you were rude right back, right? And then in your brain all day long, you're like, oh, how dare they be so mean? And then you call your husband about it, you text your best friend about it, like you're thinking about it, you're like talking it over in the shower, right? Replaying that conversation where it was an altercation, it wasn't pleasant. They were rude, right? They were out of line, but you let it consume your entire day because you're fixated on it and you're thinking about it. Or like someone flicks you off when you're on the highway, right? Something like that where it wasn't nice, it wasn't pleasant, but it also wasn't that big of a deal at the end of the day. So really being able to see like, okay, like I fully felt the feelings that came up from that. I processed it, and that lasted for about 5 minutes of being fixated on that. And then I moved into the rest of my day. I was able to focus, right? I was able to take this client call and not think about that incident, versus the incident happened and now you spend 24 hours like fixated on it, telling everyone that listens, getting onto their Google page, leaving them a nasty review, right? Calling the manager, like whatever happens from that. So that's a really good gauge to see like how you're showing up with that nervous system flexibility. So, the biggest message that the Black Cat has for us is that you can trust yourself. You will always be your greatest authority in your business and outside of your business. But the Black Cat is that rite of passage into letting go of that need and that obligation to listen to others so that you can be good enough, and fully already choosing to believe that you are good enough, and then moving forward from there. So, woo, that was good. What questions do y'all have? Black Moon, Lilith, and Gemini, the triggering truth teller. Yep, that's me. My BML is in Pisces in the 12th house. Oh, that's a good one. All right. Let me know. Put in the comments if you have any questions just about the Black Cat in general. Let's not do the specific like stuff with your chart, because that's a reading and we can do that on another day. But let me know if you have any questions about this archetype, or if any of this feels confusing for you. So basically, yeah, like other people, hiding from other people, being scared to speak your truth, being scared to say anything to other people, all signs that your Black Cat is suppressed. And I do want to say, stepping into our Black Cat archetype is not us just being rude to be rude, right? It is us being advocates for ourselves. So the Black Cat, most of the time, like she's pleasant, right? Like she's purring on your lap. She's sitting in the windowsill napping. Like she is a doll, but she can be confrontational, she can be fierce, she can be feisty when she needs to be, when there's something at stake, right? Is there a difference between the conscious and unconscious and how you deal with those gates? There's not. That's a great question. There's not in how you deal with them. They both have just as much relevance and as much power in your design. However, it typically happens where the unconscious is part of you, part of your gift, right? Part of your struggles, part of your traits that you don't necessarily notice about yourself and might feel like, what? Really? So it can be helpful to really reflect on that if you are experiencing that. Or to ask people in your life, like, hey, do you recognize this in me? Or to start looking back on like where people have basically given you compliments possibly about this, and you've kind of like reflected, what is it, deflected them and that kind of thing. So yeah, you might not resonate with it right away. Crystal clear and very fascinating. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, I'm going to put the link for the report in here again, just in case anyone joined late, but you can grab this free report. It looks at your Black Moon Lilith gates. Also, if you're interested in this stuff, if you feel like you want to step into that fierce female identity, go into that rabbit hole, right, of looking at your zodiac placements with the Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith is the farthest point in the moon's orbit. So it's like, that's why it's called a black dark moon. Awesome. And then if you haven't yet, register for Magic Fest. So this is free. First day starts on July 17th. So that's a Wednesday, I believe. I will send out the replay to everyone, so no pressure to be there live. I will be having some special reports for you about those archetypes that you can only get if you watch the trainings. They're going to be really, really good, really fun. Once you register, you will get the dates for all 4 of the trainings. But we're going to talk about my favorite of the magical archetypes. I love all of them that we're talking about. It was so hard for me to leave some archetypes out and choose them and all of that. But the ones that I think have the biggest effect, that are the most magical, most powerful to really work on developing, within ourselves as business owners are the enchantress, the mermaid, the queen, and the goddess. And we're going to be talking about those during Magic Fest. So register so you get all of the intel. And then anyone that's watching the replay that has questions or anything like that, let me know. Next week, we are going to be jumping into Lucky Girl Syndrome. So really talking about how to use your human design to live as a lucky girl, right? Where things just happen in the best case scenario because of course they do. So there's evidence and there's supporting, how do I want to say it, power in our chart that we can use to really become lucky girls. But that's going to be a fun week. I will have a report for you. I will also have a training like this. But yeah, any questions about the black cat, let me know. And then also anyone that is actively activating her, I would love to hear things that you do, right? Things that you accomplish, things that you can check off your list or say that you did or say that you conquered that you feel like you wouldn't have been able to do without that black cat activated. Yeah, Susanna, you're absolutely right. Taking care of ourselves, recharging, right? Think about a cat, like they sleep a lot, resting for sure. Absolutely pivotal. Yay. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your time. Sorry that we went over the hour like we usually do. But I will see y'all later, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.